Hello there. In this tutorial, I'm going to discuss about concept of client access server. So from the name itself, we're able to understand about the client access server, what it could be. Client access server, it means that it could be a server, and for example, it could be a server which basically allow us to check out the server. And what server it could be? It would be a mail server. For example, a mail server is there, a client is there. For example, we are there and we want to check a mail. We want to check a mail through mailbox and mail server. So basically, client server is a middleman for us. It's a kind of a mediator for us, which able to resolve all the queries in the behalf of mailbox. It means, for example, we want to check a mail, we want to send a mail, we want to create a mail, where we are checking the drafts and all that. It means we are we for us we don't know about the client access server. We don't know about who the client access server is all about. For us, we just accessing our database. For X, we are just accessing our mailbox. We are just using our mail feature. But here in the mailman, the client access server is resolving everything. Let's figure out more about that. For example, what exactly the tool is all about. Now, this is what the mail is, and a mail client. For example, a mail client in the public, you can talk about it's like Gmail or Outlook. So these are the main mailbox for you. You're using the mailbox. And for example, you want to create an offline feature, or you're actually doing the offline feature. For example, for you, the Gmail is the inbox or Outlook app. You're just from that application, go through that application, you're accessing the database of yours. It's say your inbox. So client access server is also like that. Application, you can consider that in your normal lifestyle when you open your mobile phone and you start checking your inbox. So inbox, you check through inbox application or Gmail application or Outlook application. So you go through it, and they're the applications duties to provide you the entire database of yours, the entire settings of yours, the mail you have sent, the drafts you have created. So this is what client access server is all about. And since it's working, some protocol must be there. What are the protocols is required? Now there are certain protocols it's like remote procedure call, RPC. Post office protocol, this is very important, very famous. Internet message access protocol, IMAP, very famous, very important. Outlook anywhere, ActiveSync. Or you can also know about Outlook web app, OWA, and we able to access our client access server through these protocols. POP and IMAP is quite famous for you. Remote procedure call is by default one for the Microsoft Outlook. So we're going to learn about that, each and everything on that. For example, you want to access your Gmail account offline, then most of the email clients support POP3 and IMAP. So POP3 is the version 3 of the POP protocol, and IMAP version 4 for the IMAP one. So if, for example, wants to access the email through offline, then either you go with the POP or either go with the IMAP. This is the two way you can very easily able to configure that. So and even, for example, when you do configure your offline mail, you get through it, you have to first enable the POP, and you have to first enable the IMAP, whatever you're using. For example, Outlook, or you're using the Gmail. most of the people using Gmail, or in other country like AOL and other third-party mailboxes which are available for free. You have to first configure that, and from that only you're able to access the third-party that's offline feature. Now, Outlook also supports for free and IMAP 4, but uses RPC as by default protocol. RPC is for the Outlook and it's created by default one. Although POP3 and IMAP 4 is used by almost all email clients, because this is very universal kind of thing is, and every offline mails whose server providing the servers and whose server providing the emails will be giving you the servers through POP3 and IMAP 4. Now there is one certain thing in Autodiscover. What is Autodiscover? And basically this Autodiscover uses in our Outlook 2007 and 2010 client, or the my Windows Mobile 6.1 with Autodiscover mode. Clients running Outlook 2007, 2010 or later and Windows Mobile 6.1 or later will able to configure profile related settings automatically without any admin requirement. For example, you already created your profile, whatever your name, your settings, and according to that you're able to whenever you switch devices, sometimes what happens that you switch your devices but your settings already made in a server. If you enable the Autodiscover mode, then from that they're able to get it that this guys have this feature, have this settings, and through that you're able to find it out your profile related configuration in your system. It's like you're using the Android phone and you have the application settings. You have made some settings in your inbox. You have made some settings in your for example, you have set background picture. So whenever you switch device, your background picture will be there because you have made settings, and it doesn't matter whatever devices you're using, your settings will remain there. And from the Autodiscover mode, no matter what server, no matter whatever client you're using, you will get the same feature, same profile settings through Autodiscover mode. Yeah, just needs to enable that yeah, Autodiscover is there. Another thing which is quite important here is ActiveSync. Now ActiveSync is very easily nowadays we are using, and what exactly that happen at the thing that sometime since we are using in the offline application, we are using the feature you're using the mail and offline application. So we want to see our mail, we want to see the new mail we have gonna receive or we received or we gonna send. So we need our mail database to get synced with our application, and sometimes it happens. For example, you just receive a confirmation mail, but sometimes it's not showing. Sometimes it didn't provide you the information because your mobile device is not synced with the mobile mailbox. So what happened that you have to cross check in your device that you have whether your mobile internet is working or not, and it's synced or not. Once it gets synced, your all the settings, the latest mobile mails will start reflecting in your mobile app. All the mails, whatever it is, you have sent the database, you have drafts, all that will start reflecting your mailbox. In ActiveSync, the things which we need to edit is edit the ActiveSync virtual directory, and we need to configure the ActiveSync mailbox policies. So these are the things which we need to do with ActiveSync that it requires to configure an ActiveSync. Otherwise, ActiveSync will be automatically worked on it. Now another thing we're going to learn about is Outlook Anywhere. Now what is Outlook Anywhere? It also known as RPC over HTTP. It means that something will be, by name you can able to see that something is there which can be accessible through internet, because HTTP is there. In private network, you don't need to be have the HTTP, although we are using HTTP, but in more or less in public network requires some HTTP thing which is needs to bound from the secure networks, and that's why we are accessing. So Outlook Anywhere, how it's gonna work on it? For example, I'm a client, I have a laptop user, I'm a client, and I want to use my mail through public. My mail is, and my public network is going to connect with connect client access server, and I want to go through mailbox. I want to check my mailbox. So what happens that I have to first create my connection with the public network, then my public network will be able to access client access server, and my client access server will provide me the setting, will provide me the mail access through mailbox. It means that through client, as a client through public, I am able to access my mail. My mailbox is in an internal server. It is an internal network and have nothing to do with the private network. But my client access server will provide me the access so that my client, my system were able to get that mail access, mail rights. It means that client access server requires a binding in HTTP, and through that it also requires to be the part of internet. It means that my client needs to get access of a client access server, so that client access server it need to be discoverable, and it also need to be get resolved in the DNS. It means that the entire setting need to be resolved. So Outlook Anywhere will not force you to create a VPN functionality. It don't require the VPN thing, because what happens that our client, as a client, we able to find it out. We able to access the client access server. We don't need mailbox internet. We just need client access server to be get resolved, to be get accessible through internet. So what exactly the requirements is? First of all, the client access server hosting Outlook Anywhere should be accessible via internet. We need a right to be check it out. We need able to, unless we're not able to check it out, unless it not get resolved, unless it not get accessible, we're not able to check our mail. The most important thing now, we need a valid SSL certificate from a trusted certificate authority. Not only in the internal network we need a certificate to be get enabled, we also need externally the certificate need to be get accessible. Because what happened that, for example, we have launched the internal, we have launched, we have provided the certificates, but sometimes what happened that external network not able to accept those certificates, so that we need to we need to have the valid SSL certificate from the certificate authority, from the trusted certificate authority. RPC over HTTP should be configured on Windows Server 2008, Windows Server 2008 R2 as well, because unless the RPC is not enabled, we're not able to check it out on mailbox. So this is very by default thing, and that should be enabled. The another thing is there, external name using Outlook Anywhere should resolve by client or internet. That's a very basic thing that it has to be resolved. It means the entries of the client access server should be there in the DNS as well. Now RPC configuration. RPC already enabled in Outlook 2010, Outlook 2010, 2007, so you need not to worry about that. RPC is there in the new functionality, but client running Outlook 2003 needs to configure RPC encryption via C, since not enabled by default, because it's quite an old technology. Outlook 2003 is using old technologies. That's why RPC do not enable, and we have to enable thoroughly by group policy individually. Outlook 2003 by default have that feature. Or you have an alternate that either disable RPC encryption on client access server, but that is not at all good enough for you, because it will then make your particular client access server more vulnerable and less secure. Another thing we're going to learn about is Outlook Web Access, and it also known as Outlook Web App. Now Outlook Web App is a very great tool and will provide you to access server, client access server. It can host you through web browser. It means that the kind of experience you get in Outlook 2010 you get through the web browser as well. And in the infrastructure environment, it needs to be it needs, and you will find that more popular enough, the Outlook Web Access. And through Outlook Web Access, it able to replicate. It may not require Outlook 2010 to be installed. You just need the Outlook Web Access or Outlook Web App through the web browser. You're able to find it out too, and able to check out your mailbox. Need not to install, need not to separately have their application. So again, since it's a web browser, you need to access your mailbox. Your Exchange server should be accessible, should be able to resolve through IP, through the name, the domain name, and it needs to be get resolved either in the web browser, in the public network, or in the private network. Now, for example, Outlook Web Access is quite enhanced performance, bringing you the feature which could be an application to provide you through the mail, through the internet policy very easily. Outlook Web Access can provide you enhanced performance and compatible with other browsers after Internet Explorer. Many web browsers were able to access this particular Outlook Web Access with ease. You need not to create and there is no problem at all to have this Outlook Web Access through these internet clients. But the only thing is that your Exchange server should be resolved. You need able to IP address or through the Exchange server host name. You just it needs to be get resolved either through your accessing through the public network or private network. It needs to be get resolved. So this is what the concept of client access server is, and we have covered many details over there. What are the possible client access servers, or whatever, like Outlook Anywhere, Autodiscover mode, and we're going to go through all this in the client access server module. What are the things which requires, and how we able to configure and configuration of all that. So hope you learned something about this part of concept of client access server. Thanks for watching.